Thanks for tuning in again, everybody. We're back with your favorite podcast, Luka's Tigers and Bronze. Oh my.
So Luka Nation, I think you guys are going to love today's episode. And as you could tell, I'm going to kick this one off because this is airing on Saturday. Yesterday, we had Jeremy Padower on and Cage kicked us off. And about 7 minutes in, he was still into the intro.
My intro qualifies as a whole episode.
So I'll kick us off today. I think you're going to love today's episode. Today's guest is someone that, he's carved out a real niche in the hobby. He really has. I found out the other day that he's never bought a graded card, and he's been crushing it in 2020. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, a ton about Topshot, because Topshot, in my opinion, is a company that's here to stay. And I hope we don't get in any quarrels because this might be the first guest that's better looking than Cage that we've brought on. And that's going to be something to play around with. So you guys might know him as Hype Cards. His name's Bryton. I appreciate you jumping on today, man. You came heavily requested from our community. So
that's awesome.
Good to have you on.
Great to hear. Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. You guys have been crushing it lately, so I'm happy to be here.
Bryton, first question. I just want to know, where did you find Topshot? How were you one of the early adopters in Topshot?
So pretty crazy. They popped up on an ad on my Instagram stories. I didn't know anything about them. I had never heard of them. And an ad popped up. I think it was because Tyler Hero's like a partner with them. And it was just like this cool clip of like Tyler Hero. And it kind of like went into like one of their packs and it showed like their moments real quick and just like a story ad. And I immediately, my everything is basketball. Like if you look at my Instagram and everything, it's almost entirely basketball. So it really caught my eye. And I didn't know much about it, but I looked at their Instagram. I'm pretty good buddies with Jack Settleman and he was kind of involved as well. So I kind of was texting him about it. And I don't know, I just went on their website. Like you said, like we were talking about earlier, like it was very clean. It was very well put together. And I thought that just kind of spoke a lot to what they were. I went to their Instagram. They didn't have a lot of followers at the time, but everything was just very, very clean. And I liked the aesthetic of it. And I was like, looks like a new wave. So might as well hop on.
Love it. And Cage, I'm going to get to you in just a second, but guys, we're recording this at noon on a Friday. And if you haven't joined the Discord chat for Topshot, please do. We have a Topshot Instagram group, but also join the Discord. So if you hear some oohing, ahhing, screaming, that's because the packs might drop literally as we're recording this episode. And Cage is monitoring it like a hawk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can't miss out. You can't miss out on packs. But listen, we got a lot of listeners who have no idea what Topshot is and have no idea, the whole deal. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pivot because we got time with Hype Cards. We got time with Brighton here, right? We'll get back to Topshot. I want to make sure our listeners know this is not just another Topshot episode. This guy's got some crazy stuff going on, crazy content. I remember, stumbling on your page. Has to be 2-3 months ago. You had like a Tatum thing going on where it's like, hey, this is what I bought. I bought these, I graded these, and I turned the Tatum cards into this. This is how much it cost.
Did you see my reel?
I might have.
I posted a reel about that. I posted a reel, and we can get into it more, but I posted a reel about these Tatum Prisms I bought. I bought a bunch last year before the All-Star game. They were $15 for his raw Prism.
Yeah, this was the one I saw. Yep.
Yep. And so I graded them. What's up?
It's a cool story. So
yeah, and so I graded them.
You bought them at $15 each.
Yeah, and so I graded them, and I got a bunch of 10s and a couple 9s. And all of a sudden, this must have been when you saw it, but all these people were commenting on that reel, and they're like, this guy's a clown. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. Like, there's a reason people sell them for raw on eBay because they're not going to grade well. And I'm like, if you know me, like, I don't like, why would I lie about that? Why would I lie that I bought these raw and graded them? And it's just crazy to me that people say things like that when they have no idea what's going on.
So, but listen, so we'll take this two ways, right? Because Luka Nation, you'll learn from Brighton about the journey of those cards, right? The buying on eBay and the selling and that stuff. But the other thing you'll learn is there's a segment of people who listen to us who are us 6 months ago, you a year ago. Before you started Hype Cards, before we started Luka Nation and had Luka's Tigers and Bronze, even in our minds, there are people out there who are content creators, people on TikTok, people all over the place. And what you just said is actually a pretty important lesson because there's a lot of people listening going, wow, this guy's called a clown. Like, that's terrible. I wouldn't want to be called a clown. I'm just putting this out there and it's the truth. And people, if they knew me, they wouldn't call me a clown. They wouldn't call me a liar. Guess what? I probably only saw that story because people were calling you a clown. Yeah. because it was a polarizing thing, because, there are just as many people who are saying, wow, that's awesome, man. You did really good. You were smart enough to get in on the Tatums and you did good grading. Look how much money you made. What a great story. The other 50% are people who are like, this guy's full of it, no way, blah, blah, blah. And, it takes me back to one of our early episodes where we had a Project 2020 artist on, Blake Jameson. And, I probably have quoted this a dozen times now, Andrew, right? Where we asked him, what do you think about the art? And he's like, when I started out, I was doing art and I was trying to please everyone. I was trying to make everybody happy. I was trying to, do, art. And he goes, then I realized that, to actually be good at this, to actually, be successful at it, it has to be polarizing. It can't just be vanilla. It can't just be run of the mill, down the middle. There are going to be people who hate it, but that's what starts dialogue. And that's, so don't take it personally that people are like, you're a clown, because believe it or not, that was probably helpful to the story and probably got more eyeballs on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really wild. I've received hate before, but that one, there was multiple comments, and it was like, I posted that reel a long time ago, and it just kind of had resurfaced, and I was getting a lot of comments on that reel, and it was pretty wild to me. But
because it's a story of the hobby and what people are trying to do now, right? I mean, what got a lot of people into this in the last 18 to now 24 months, it's amazing how we're stretching the timeline, is stories like that, where it was like, okay, you can buy cards raw, you can open a pack, you can get a Tatum, you can get a Zion. Andrew did it himself. Zion, when it first came out, $100, $150 or whatever he was paying for raw Zions. Buy him for this, send him into PSA, get him back in 3 months, however long it takes to get back from PSA at the time. Yeah. And it was a formula for it. And that formula was appealing to people because you could do it. But maybe by the time that reel resurfaced, PSA was, 19 months delay. I mean, however long it's going to take for, value submissions, which don't even exist anymore. And, people are like, there's no way. Because by that time, those people who were commenting, they were righter than when you bought it. Not everybody was putting their picked through Tatums on eBay. You were able to get a decent card or two. Maybe not anymore. The landscape's changed.
Yeah.
So,
what I think Brighton does really well is his content's kind of like a vlog. It's like, watch me turn these Tatums into $1,000 cards, or is that right? And I think when you go that route,
it's interesting you say that, because I actually just I posted a few YouTube videos last year, and they were more on this is how you buy a raw card, this is how you grade, stuff like that. And I actually just started about 3 weeks ago. I'm trying to do a vlog every single week, just kind of going through this is how I'm building my business. This is the card I'm looking at. This is why I'm looking at it. I just got these in the mail. I just got these 10 cards in the mail. I'm going to send these 8 out to PSA. Hey, I'm investing in Topshot now. This is what I'm doing. So it's interesting you said that's kind of the vibe I'm trying to go for, but it's difficult to capture everything I'm doing in pictures. So that's why I'm trying to do a little bit on YouTube and TikTok now as well.
We need to get you a D-Rock.
Yeah, I know. I wish.
So tell us, Bryton, tell us a little bit about kind of who you are and your background. You look really young, but you jumped on here and you said you've got a fiance. So I'd love to hear the story of Bryton and what got him to, got him into the sports card industry.
Yep. So I'm originally from Iowa. I don't know if that matters, but I'm from Iowa. I went to college with a lot of ambition, but I did not know where to put it, which was actually really, really frustrating. And it was really hard just because I really wanted to do something, but I didn't know what I was passionate about, and I didn't know where to put all this ambition. And so got a job right out of college down in Austin, Texas. So I moved down there and I enjoyed my job. And that was so I'm 23, also just precursor there. I got the job in April of 2019. And around June, I was hearing all this stuff about sports cards popping up. I heard Gary Vee talking about them, and basketball has been just a huge part of my life, and it's just really shaped who I am as a person. And so I was like, I know a lot about players. I know a lot about popularity. Part of the reason why I bought that Tatum at $15, because I was like, it's crazy that this is $15. And I was like, I think I can make some money from these. In high school and a little bit in college, I resold sneakers. And I tried to start an Amazon arbitrage business as well, but there's some legal issues. So I enjoyed the flip business. And I heard a little bit about grading versus not grading, because I collected sports cards as a kid. I had no idea what grading was though. So I found out a little bit about that. And believe it or not, in June of 2019, I bought probably 10 to 15 Luka Prisms for about $15 to $20 each, ungraded. And I got them all in the mail, and I was like, how do I grade these? I know PSA, but I don't know how to grade them. I didn't know what a group sub was. I couldn't figure it out. I got really frustrated, and I just didn't do anything with them. So I just left them in my apartment somewhere. And then fast forward to October, and some stuff resurfaced again. I reached out to a few like card accounts that popped up on my page that were talking about grading. And I was like, hey, what is a group sub? How do I grade these cards? And I look back and those Lukas that I bought for $15 to $20 were actually going for like $40 now. And I was like, that's only, $25 to $20 increase. But the fact that in just a few months that they were able to jump that much, I think speaks a lot for what's about to happen here. So I got in, I figured out how to grade. I bought a ton of cards. I invested a ton of money. And I just sort of figured out that like basketball is what I'm passionate about. And I want to build a personal brand around basketball. But to do that, you kind of got to figure out a way to make money. So for me, at first, it was trying to figure out a way to make money through these cards. I figured out a system of how I can buy raw cards, how I can pick them out on eBay, see which ones are in better condition than others, and figure out systems of how I can message sellers, join Discords, Facebook groups, all this stuff. And so I started to just kind of try and build up my process of how I was going to start to make money and how I was going to start to build a personal brand around cards. And now obviously Topshot has come up. So I'm starting to invest in Topshot a lot and trying to shift my content a little bit. Like I said, I'm doing vlogs on like how I can build the business. So I'm showing more than just cards because my ultimate goal is to build a personal brand around basketball. So that's a little bit my story. I didn't mention I do actually live in Dallas now as well. So I was part of the Luka buy as well. I know you guys are Luka Nation, so I do live in the beautiful city of Dallas. So
are you going to the show this weekend?
I am going to the show. I actually got to drop
in
off
your backyard, basically.
Yeah, I got to drop off a few cards. I got to pick up a few from PSA, so I'm going to vlog a little bit of that as well. So it's exciting.
I'm jealous, man. I want to go to the show. What do you think, Andrew? Get in the car and drive down? I mean, you're in an undisclosed location. It would probably be difficult for me to drive.
I get really tired at shows. I'm someone who gets like decision fatigue. When you go to restaurants, like I always struggle because there's too many options what to order, and like there's so many cards to buy to show. I get decision. I get really tired.
It always humbles me a little bit because I'm like, man, I got all these Luka PSA 10s. I just got a Josh Silver in the mail as well. I'm doing really well. And I go to these shows, and there's one guy that always goes to this Dallas show. He has like at least 500 grand of all these Luka graded cards, and it humbles you. So it's nice to see it.
Listen, there's many levels of humbling. An ankle injury might humble that guy. So Luka's still playing. So that 500 grand might be 200 grand very soon. It is what it is, man. So the last time you went to that show, there was probably somebody sitting there with 400 grand worth of trade cards. That's 250 grand now. So yeah, it's a crazy thing. It really is, But it's an important thing, right? I mean, I love going to shows like that as well to see everybody else's collection, one, because you see where stuff is going. But you're right. I mean, it just shows you, because I'll put money in it. I'll put time into it. I dedicate a lot of money and time. It's nice to see that there are what Andrew would call institutional investors, institutional money in it as well, right? Because that provides a floor. And it also provides kind of like a reaffirmation that what you're doing, you're not insane. Because the vast majority of people in your world, fiance maybe included, probably do think you're insane. Yeah. With boxes of PSA cards all over the place, and I'm putting my investment money in sports cards and whatnot. So it's nice to go and it's nice to go to a card show like that and be like, all right, I'm a small fish in this pond. So
what's cool for me, I'm interested if I went to 2 shows last year. I went to Westchester and Valley Forge, and it was just the nerdiest dudes in the world. And I'm wondering this year, does that change, right? Because now there's more money. There's some bigger players. I'm sure they want to go to the shows and grab some cards. So I wonder if the demographic is going to change.
It's totally going to change. The last show I went to was the White Plains East Coast National. Also, we probably were at the same show, Andrew. But I'll tell you, what I left with was 2 2018-19 Prism Basketball retail boxes that I paid $110 each for.
Holy shit.
That was 1 year ago today, right?
And it was before that one, but the prices were a little higher a year ago, but it was a little bit before that one. I mean, they do that at that show in White Plains like every quarter, at least they were before, COVID and whatnot. But that was one I like, and it wasn't, oh, let me save this. I probably should have saved it, but I opened it in the car. You know what I mean? Like, on the way home at traffic lights, like, hey, look at Luka,
Bryton, I think one of the benefits that and you tell me, but I think of sports cards as more economics than sports. Like you see kind of the Bill Simmons and those guys are getting into the podcast, but they're coming at it from a sports angle. But actually sports cards are more economics. And having that background in sneaker flipping, I feel like you were able to see, wait a second, Tatum cards are $15 a pop, where Zion and Ja are $60, $75. Those numbers don't add up. Could you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that past experience, even though sneaker flipping might not have worked out the way on a big scale, it could have helped you have a lot of success last year.
Yeah, so I think there's two angles, and remind me to go into the second one because I'm guessing I'll go off on a tangent here. But for that first one, I think from that like economics angle, you can start to understand and you can start to pick out the players where, like I said, like Tatum was $15 for a raw card before the All-Star break. And if you saw his numbers, you saw how huge the Boston market was and how just popular he was as a player. It's like that makes no sense. And I love Luka. I think he's a great player, but Luka's at the time are probably going for at least $200 to $300. And it's like that makes no sense that there's that big of a gap. And so I think you can take that angle and just sort of start to pick out the statistics and the players that are very comparable, and then you can see the prices. You can understand the different markets. You can understand New York is a huge market, maybe Atlanta isn't as big of a market, and you can kind of take that angle. But then sort of on the second note, since I was involved in shoes, I saw all the businesses that were started from shoes. So it wasn't just people flipping shoes, it was people that started a kit that you can buy to clean your shoes with. They sold luggage cases specifically that hold 5 pairs of hype sneakers that you can take when you travel. Like there was all these little businesses that started off of sneakers rather than just flipping them. And I knew that that was going to happen with sports cards, and you're starting to see it now. You're starting to see all these new grading companies come out. You're starting to see different cases that you can put your cards in and display them in your home. All these different little things. I'm sure cleaning kits will come out soon. And so you could just tell that it was going to go the exact same way because you could tell that sports cards were coming back into like the culture and like the popularity among people, just like what sneakers did. So
I love it. And if we could just pivot to Topshot, I think Topshot's an interesting overlap because
He said he wanted a second. He had a second avenue before the Topshot.
What was it? It was the businesses. It was the business.
Is there a third avenue, or Topshot's the third avenue?
Well, sneaker flippers always dealt with inventory issues, right? Like, and getting packs is so different than standing in line in front of a store at 5 a.m. and getting sneakers that you then resell, right? It has that aspect of it.
By the way, guys, let me throw a little old man stuff into this.
Please.
This has been going on since the dawn of time. Right. So if people think the sneaker flipping thing is a new phenomenon and this is like my generation where we're smart, we know what we're doing. Let me tell you guys, when I was in law school, I used to stand online on Tuesday mornings in a store called Noodle Cadoodle. And they dropped the Beanie Babies. Right. And I was online with a bunch of lunatics. Right. And you get the I still have a ton of them. Right. A ton. I have Disney ones. I have the Thai ones. I got all kinds. I got so many of them. But it's the same exact thing, you know. There's a market for it, you know. And if you're willing to hustle and put in a little bit, you know, I sold a Quackers without wings for $200. I paid $6 for it that morning, you know. Like it's amazing. So this has been going on. There'll be something next week. Cards though, you know, like Field of Dreams. I'll you know, if you haven't seen it, I know Andrew, you haven't seen it because you haven't seen any movies.
You build it, they'll come.
Yes, but he says baseball has stood the test of time. You know, America has been, you know, bulldozed and you know, built back up again, cities and towns. But baseball has stood the test of time. Same thing with this hobby. Mm-hmm. You know, Beanie Babies have come and gone. You know, a lot of other weird little things have come and gone.
Crazy Bones, and remember Crazy Bones?
Yeah, I mean, you know, different. But this stuff, the sports cards, you know, it ebbs and it flows, but it has stood the test of time. So I think it's here to stay. And, you know, every time we talk to somebody else like you that is, you know, building a brand, you know, around it, just, you know, it reaffirms and should reaffirm everybody who's listening out there, guys. You put money in this, it's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Well, one of the reasons that I believe Topshot is here to stay is I think their founding team has done this before. I think that's like Gary Vee always talks about bet on the jockey, not the horse. Well, this founding team, they came out with crypto kitties. They've had successful ventures in the past. They're really smart advisors and backers. So the reason that we at Luka Nation, we want to bring you Topshot and just the information about the platform is we think that this is here to stay. We think they're doing a really good job despite some of the technical glitches. And Brighton, I think you know firsthand, you've been in it from, you know, one of the early days. Do you remember was your first buy from the marketplace or did you buy packs first?
My first buys, I bought multiple packs to start off with, and I had a lot of fun with it. And I didn't, so like I come from the card game where it's like I buy raw, I grade, and there's like the arbitrage. I didn't see any arbitrage. So I was like, I don't know if I want to buy from the marketplace or if I just want to try and get packs. And then there's obviously a ton of value in the packs. And then I started buying actual moments.
So give me a time frame, right? You saw this thing pop up as an advertisement on your Instagram advertisement. When was that?
So probably early December.
Early December. Okay. Yep. Did you reach out to them? Did you just go on the site?
I did.
Okay.
I reached out to them. They had like 2,500 or 3,000 followers at the time, and like they have like I think 10,000 now. So $7,000 jump, but that's a lot in just 2 months or whatever it's been. So I saw them and I bought a bunch of packs. They were easier to access at the time,
right.
And now it's getting harder and harder. But that is one of the things I like is I think like with sports cards, you can't go buy a box from Target or Walmart. Like you might get lucky, but most of the time you're going to spend 10 trips going to 20 different stores and you're not going to find anything. And so that's part of the reason I like Topshot right off the rip, because they have a lot of packs and it is getting more and more difficult, but I think they're still figuring things out and they're going to figure out how to make the packs more accessible to people. But I started buying moments probably only early January, so I haven't even been doing it very long. And the increase that I've seen in the prices is just absolutely insane.
Was your first moment Tatum?
No, it wasn't. I don't even remember.
How could you do Tatum like that?
I actually just pulled one of his rare moments from a legendary Deck the Hoops pack I opened this last weekend. So
how'd you get that pack?
Like I said, I was just buying packs, everything I could right when I started, and it dropped right after Christmas Day before I'd say like the huge influx of people. So they limited it to one per person and I got one for $230, and it was, the value inside is just insane.
Yep. Had to get a Tatum Deck the Hoops. And what, you kept it sealed until like last week? Or you opened it right when you, wow.
I did a live opening last week. I didn't know when to open it. Even when I first got the pack, because you can filter on their site all of the legendary moments from the Deck the Hoops pack. So you can see, okay, I'm guaranteed to get one of these 12 moments. And I think there was 2 Heat ones. There's a Duncan Robinson and a Goran Dragic one. And both were going for like $200. And even then I was like, okay, so like maybe I lose $30, but maybe I get a rare moment and I can make that up because I paid $230 for the pack. And I was like, that's fine. Like, this is fun. And then I looked at it last week when I was about to open, and both of those were up at like $1,200. I was like, so no matter what, I'm going to make like $1,000 from this.
Yep. There's the economics. There's a lesson right there, Luka Nation. So like, when you open, let's say, like, let's use Prism 2019, 2020, right? If the best card you could get in there is a Zion base or even silver, let's say you get the silver, it's $600-700 raw, but the packs, the hobby box that you're buying is $600-700. Is it even worth opening up if the best card you could get in there is exactly the same price? Versus what Brighton's saying is, I bought the pack for $230, and the worst players in that pack are already selling for $200. So it's a no-brainer to go and open it, and you did a good job mixing in content and building an audience and things like that.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty wild. That to that same point, it's like you can buy a 2018, and I think the hobby boxes, if you're guaranteed a silver, it might be silver from someone that gets 2 minutes or doesn't even play anymore. And then you're just kind of out all this money that you spent hoping to get even just one base Luka card instead of like the silver. And so that's also what I've enjoyed about NBA Top Shot is they're guaranteeing you, in a rare pack, you might be guaranteed 2 rare moments, and those are going for double what you paid for the pack. So
what are the seal packs you got left?
I don't have any right now. I got a Cool Cats one just a couple days ago, and I opened that up and I got the Rui. So I paid $14 for it. The Rui's going for, I think it's dipped a little bit, but when I opened it, it was like $300. I think it's like $250 now.
So we'll do some content. Maybe we'll have you on when we open it. But I have 30 sealed Series 1 packs.
Damn, and you just haven't opened them yet?
I haven't opened them, and I have right now. What are we down to? Because my son loves opening packs, so we open some. Instead of opening regular packs, we open some moments. Yeah. We're down to, I think I still have 70 sealed Series 2 Release 1. The ones with the good serial numbers with LaMelo and those guys in it. So there'll be some nice video content there. Andrew, I would have opened them already, but he's like, we're going to open them live. We're going to open them. We'll do video content. I'm like, okay, I just want to open them and see what I got.
That's not what you said. You went nuts. You're like, I'm a 44-year-old man. I don't even know what live means. I don't know how to do it. How do you do this?
Well, I'm going to give you my... Open them live. And I'm like, dude, I'm opening this stuff on my phone. Like, I can't only have one screen here. I don't know how to go live. And I don't know what the hell. So you figure it out, and then we can open them. But yeah, I saved some packs.
That'll be which you guys should have me on when you do one of them, because it's a lot of fun, and I'm guessing if you have some of those older packs, there's some gems in there.
Well, we'll see. Even if you don't, it's kind of what you're saying, right? Those packs were $12 for 5 moments, so $2.40 a moment for the Series 1 packs. And I did open a couple the other day just because I'm bored. It hasn't been packs on the site in a while, and hopefully they drop some soon to keep everybody engaged. But I'm like, all right, I'll open up a couple of my old ones. And I'm like, I didn't get a Luka or a LeBron, but I got Lillard and Beal in the pack. And I'm like, all right, well, that's not so great. I look them up, and one's 300 and one's 250. And I'm like, holy cow. Like, this pack, even the crappy ones were, $25-$30. It's like $700 for what I paid $14 for.
Yeah. Cage, do you view Series 1 packs as like kind of like the 2012 Prism in a way?
Yes. Yeah, and it depends on and right. I'm curious what you think about this also, but I hope that there's some longevity to it. I hope that there's some some real staying power to it. I think every day more and more people join, so that's the story. But yeah, I mean, I look at like the Series 1 stuff exactly, Andrew, as like the '86 Fleer or the the 2012 Prism. I think that Series 1 is real limited. A lot of them, about half that. I think it's like the last I checked was like 287 card set, 287 moment set, the Series 1 set. Half of them are limited to 1,000. Some of them are limited to 1,500. There are a few more, but like when you talk about how there's already 10,000 followers, and that's in its beta stage now, right? And I'm sure it's more than that every day, but that means that the maximum 1 out of 10 of those followers can have a complete Series 1 set, and you know how hard it is to finish the set like that. So to me, that's and it's chases like that I think will keep the thing going.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a great concept. For me personally, I love collecting cards, and like I said, I live in Dallas. I really like Luka, and it's fun for me to be able to hold a card and say, hey, this represents Luka, and I like him as a player, so it's cool. And now it's sitting on my shelf over here. But then with NBA Topshot, because I like basketball so much, I'm obviously watching a ton of basketball games. I watch like all the Mavericks games. So when I see these moments pop up on NBA Topshot, or when I open them from a pack, I'm like, oh, I remember exactly what I was doing, exactly where I was when I watched that. So there's so much more intrinsic value for me, especially because I love basketball so much, than holding this piece of cardboard that has a player picture on it. So that's a lot of it for me as well.
I like that. And I'm a perfect example, right? They put a new LeBron out, this past week, and it's the moment from last week where he hit the 3-pointer and kind of like turned around and looked at the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's cooler than possibly any. I mean, maybe the LeBron chalk throwing, chrome. Maybe they put that in a moment, a throwback moment or something like that. But you're right. I mean, there's what Andrew and a lot of our guests have talked about with basketball doing better than most. Because of course I'm older, so I'm a baseball guy at heart, and I still with baseball collecting, right? Basketball just got the absorption rate just got huge in the past couple of years. But the reason for that is the popularity of basketball, and baseball's trying to maintain popularity, trying to improve their sport. But what Andrew says, it's not the length of the game or anything like that. It's how basketball does. Most people don't watch basketball to watch the full game. They're consuming those moments on Instagram or on YouTube, and they're catching those highlights. So it really is an interesting concept that they came up with, moments, because that's what people are watching anyway.
I never even thought about that, actually. That's a very good point. A lot of people, I think basketball is so like instilled in like today's culture, and I don't think a lot of people watch the entire game, like you said, but they're following House of Highlights, Bleacher Report, ESPN, NBA on TNT on Instagram, and they're seeing all these incredible plays, and they're getting those same feelings when they see them on Topshot as well.
What do you think the issue is with the Mavs this season? You're the GM, Bryton. What moves are you making?
They've had health issues for one. So like Josh Richardson has been out for, I don't even know, like 5 games now. They started with Porzingis out for a few games. So they haven't like had their steady 5 on the court for a long time. I love Luka, and I think he's a really good like facilitator, but it doesn't feel like they have someone that like really drives a professional offense, if that makes sense. So like you look at the Lakers and you look at how LeBron runs the floor, they're getting a good shot up, 80% of their possessions. Whether they make it or not is a different story, but they're at least getting a good look. I don't feel like the Mavericks have someone that drives a good look 80% of the time like some of these other elite teams do.
You see that at home, they're only allowing like 99 points a game. They're actually drastically improved this season defensively, but they don't have a ton of offensive weapons. And KP, like he's been playing, but he's definitely not at 100%. And he's he's what their second best weapon. Who else is going to go and get buckets for them? Because Luka's usage is insane. He always has the ball in his hands.
Yeah, and like to that point, I think like you have Tim Hardaway, you have Jalen Brunson, like you have Josh Richardson, and they like can score 20, 25, maybe even 30 points a game, but they're not going to give you a consistent 20 points a game for that same point. And so like I think they had a third kind of like star that was like a athletic sort of guard or like, you know, like 3 guard. I think they would do a lot better.
I'm thinking Lou Will, like a Lou Will type player. That's someone who just could get in there, get him 20 points consistently, get buckets, make people better. Just real quick back to Topshot. So I made a mistake. So I bought a ton of Series 2 John Morant moments at like 135, 140. Now they're $70. Let's help our audience who's listening avoid some pitfalls or mistakes with Topshot. What are some mistakes that you're seeing people make?
So I think it's very important to understand like the count and how many there are of each moment, because like you can see the serial number is attached to how many total moments there are, and there's some moments that have a limited edition, whether that's 7,500, whether that's 500, whether it's 2,000, and there's some you'll see it's just a little CC in a circle and it'll say like 12,000 plus. So that means that like there's still some opening from the pack there. It's the CC stands for continued count. So you know, next week there might be 14,000 of those. So those are, I think people need to focus more on like the limited edition ones, because those seem to be holding the value a lot more. And then also, I think just going for like the main players right now. So like you said, I'm surprised if Jaws decreased, but like John Morant, Luka, LeBron, Trey, like these popular players, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, like those are the ones that seem to be increasing the most, like exponentially. And especially like those limited edition ones and like the ones like from the rare packs or from the legendary packs are doing very, very well.
So I'm going to tell you, obviously, the legendary packs, what's tough about it is because you're not going to be able to get them. I mean, maybe they'll drop another rare pack at some point soon, and it'll be great if you're lucky enough to get in, and who knows how they're going to be distributing them and the whole deal. But for right now, if I could give one piece of advice, I'd love to hear what you think on this. If somebody's listening to this and they hear Brighton talk about this, they've heard me talk about it a bunch of times. We had Jack on also talking about this stuff as well. And they think, oh, you know what? Let me just put $100. Let me go into this, right? You know, what I would tell them to do is use your knowledge of the sport and the physical cards that people who are on there are not using, right? Kind of like what you did with Tatum, right? And you said, hey, Luka's prices are this much. Tatum's prices are too cheap, right? So if Luka's selling for this and it's the same amount printed, you name it, same kind of pop, Tatum should be more than it is. And there's an inefficiency there in the market, right? And you realize that because, you know, you watch Tatum, you watch, you know, the trends, you know Luka, you see the prices. A lot of people on Topshot are, you know, blockchain, you know, Dogecoin, GameStop people that not necessarily card people, not necessarily, you know, hobby people, and they don't know the rookie class. Yeah, they know who Zion is, right? But they don't know that Ja might be better. And they definitely don't know that Michael Porter Jr. is not that far behind, or Kobe White goes out there and scores 20-something points. So I'll tell you what I did when I got into it was exactly that. I went and I could buy packs, but I wasn't getting legendary. I get in, since I've been in, they haven't dropped anything but commons. So I got in a couple days too late. Right? I wish I got in on some golds or some legendaries, but I didn't. And so what I had to do was focus on, all right, when I first started, the first edition Kobe Whites were $3 and $8 when the Jaws were hundreds. And I'm like, okay, this is silly, right? Because, yeah, he should be less, but he shouldn't be that much less. And they stopped making the Series 1, they went to Series 2, and the Kobe Whites that were $3 and $8 went to $130 and $160. You know what I mean? Same thing, Michael Porter Jr. Also, look for guys who have their first moment. It's almost kind of like a rookie card, right? So Keldon Johnson didn't have a Series 1 card. He only had a Series 2 moment, not card. He had a Series 2 moment. And I've been telling anybody who will listen, go and buy Keldon Johnson. They're $2. They're $3. Well, they stopped. He became an LE this morning. 12,000 is the most they're going to print, which sounds like a lot, but you compare that to cards and whatnot, it's nothing. And the cards that were $3-4 2-3 days ago when we told people to buy these are now 20, 22, 23 because they're not making any more of them. It becomes, back to my Beanie Baby comparison, it now is a retired Beanie Baby. And all of a sudden, you know that the next time the card store stocks, the next time Hallmark stocks, they're not going to have that one anymore. They're going to be putting something else out. So that's what I would look for. If you if you're thinking out there, am I too late to the game? You're definitely not. There are definitely, rookies that are going to be in the next drop. There are definitely limited edition stuff. I saw somebody in Discord say, why is Obi Toppin selling for what he is? Who's he? I never even heard of this guy. And you're like, okay, well, you want to sell me your Obi Toppin? So
okay, just a great point too with the 12,000. Think about how many cards Panini printed. There's just 12,000 PSA 10s of Zion, and they came out of $80, $100 packs. These Keldon Johnsons came out of $9 packs, and they were $3 each. So people might own 100 of them. 12,000 is not as much as it seems.
Hypothetically, I know someone that owns 54 of them.
I do not own 54.
Well, you might know someone who does.
I think to that same point, just using your knowledge, I think you have to understand why do people what highlights do people want to see? Would someone rather see an assist? Would someone rather see a crazy dunk? Would someone rather see Trey pull up from half court? So I think if you're seeing a Ja Morant assist is going as much as a Luka dunk, you can kind of see, okay, maybe that doesn't seem right because people want to see the dunk more. So over time, that dunk is going to gain more value than the assist will. And then I think also
nice try, Bryton. Luka can't dunk. Nice try.
I think it was 1 or 2 games ago. He barely got over the rim.
I can't wait for them to have moments that are like the one that happened this week where LeBron missed the dunk. He clanged the ball off the rim. That would be great. Moment fails.
Yeah.
Do a whole series of those.
So
the Sports Center not top 10 moments collection. That would be great. That'd be funny stuff.
So there's base, gold, and then Cage or Brighton, help me out. There's these rookie debut and
yep. There's all kinds. It's almost like inserts. They were in different packs.
They're going to stamp any rookie this year, any moments that came out this year, they're going to stamp that moment with a little rookie. I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's essentially going to say, hey, this is their rookie moment. Essentially on sports cards, on the Prisms, when you see the RC in the corner, it's a rookie card. They're going to do that same thing for moments on Topshot, which I think will give it a little bit more value as well.
Are they going to do that for last year's as well?
So they are. I can't remember the exact logistics of it. I think obviously if a moment comes out this year from a Ja moment last year, it will have the rookie stamp on it. But if a moment comes out this year from LaMelo Ball's moment, it'll have a special rookie stamp because it was sold during his rookie season if that makes sense. They explained the whole thing in an email, and I don't remember exactly the logistics of it, but it's
all in testing, and they may change it. But the point is that they're trying to, emphasize the rookies by putting a rookie stamp, a rookie debut. I think there's 3 different badges they're going to put on it. It's sort of like what Panini does with the card, with the RC card, just to identify it as a rookie. So people are now digging into which ones are going to get the badges and stuff, figuring that might add some value to it once those badges get put on.
Right.
And there's a sneaky play, right? So Giannis, there's a turn back the clock, run it back or something like that, which has a moment from the 13-14 season in it. And that is going to get a Giannis rookie badge on it. So, because it's in his rookie year. So it's interesting stuff that they're doing.
Yeah.
Right. And give me your top 3 rookies from this year, this class.
Okay, so I really like LaMelo Ball. I don't think he's in a great situation, just because he's not getting a lot of playing time, but he was having a lot of turnover. So I understand that. I think he has the most potential. I think James Wiseman is an incredible player. I think he's in a great system with the Warriors because they know how to develop players. And I really he hasn't played a ton yet, but I like the potential of Obi Toppin as well.
Cage, what about you, brother?
Yeah, listen, LaMelo's looked really good. I have to say, I think I'll give 3, but LaMelo's looked really good. But I have to say, I think we probably have seen what we're going to see out of him. I don't think he's going to get much better than what he is. So there's my take. He definitely makes top 3. I love Anthony Edwards from a collector standpoint because I think he brings so much to the table. It's difficult to say, hey, your top guy is the number 1 pick, right? Who the hell wants to hear that? But with his social media. He's funny. He brings just those like little intangible, like I talk about with Tatis, right? He's great on the field, but he brings that little extra spice to the equation, which makes him just a little bit more collectible, right? And I've loved Obi Toppin, but there's so many other guys. Kid Patrick Williams, the Bulls could be really good. So top three, I'm gonna go Edwards, LaMelo, and who? Oh, Ian says Wiseman.
I like it.
Top three picks. We went chalk.
So Edwards to me is hands down the best. He's the best personality. He's a gamer. He's hilarious. He could shoot apparently too pretty well. But how much do you guys worry about him being on the Timberwolves? Or just a losing program time and time again?
Yeah, I think it's a really big factor because I think what drives a lot of price is popularity. And how do you become popular? The media covers you more. How does the media cover you more? You're winning games. And so I don't think he's in a great situation and could get traded. Like LaMelo said that he wants to get traded after the season, which I think is ridiculous, but
that's not going to happen.
I don't like his situation. It doesn't mean that it can't turn around. It doesn't mean that something can't improve, but I don't like the situation.
Cage, what about you? Let's actually bring it this way. For Topshot investments, Cage, but also we're not so far away. We're a month away from Prism Basketball releasing. Would you?
If they don't push it back.
He knows everything. He's plugged in. You see what
I
mean?
But I mean, like Hoops was supposed to be out in our hands already, and now it's not. I mean, I don't think. I mean, Panini puts out a million releases, but if they're putting out Dunris and Hoops and whatever the hell else out there, they're going to want to give it a runway. They're going to want to give it, let people have it in their hands and break the wax for a little while, especially because those lesser things like Dunris, Hoops, that stuff. Once Prism breaks, people are going to want that and only that. It'd be difficult to have the other stuff, move. So they're going to want to give it a little bit of a ramp, right? Disney doesn't release, blockbuster movies every week. They try to give their blockbuster movies, a couple weeks to run.
It would be kind of corny to release a product towards the end of the year, no? Like their flagship product, literally with 1 month left in the season. Edwards isn't even going to be playing in the playoffs. So
it's a backwards year, but I mean, they'll learn from it. But honestly, I've told you this a bunch of times. Panini could take a dump in a box and sell it, and it'll sell out in 3 seconds. So it doesn't matter when they put it out. I mean, they put out last year's Flawless, right? Didn't it seem like it came out like last week? We're halfway into the next season, right? I mean, Panini's been dropping still 2019 products well into 2021. So,
you had some choice words for clearly done risk. What did you say? Clearly done right, wipe my ass? Is that what you called it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I'm not collecting it. Doesn't mean you guys can't collect it. And I'm sure there's money to be made if you happen to hit the right thing and whatnot. But, to me, I don't need to see through Zion rookie. That's the 38th different Zion rookie that Panini made that year. It's just my take.
So let's wrap with this, Bryton. And you're a lot like me because last year I bought Zion cards. I sent them in to get graded. I did well. I used that money to reinvest, to buy more raw cards, to send them to PSA. But I'm hearing like 13 months on PSA value subs, 6 months on 20 days. That's not even a joke. I literally have a 20-day that I haven't gotten back from August. So it's same. How are you changing your strategy, right? You have to evolve or die, adapt or die. How are you changing your strategy since you were buying raw and grading?
Yeah, so I'll set it up like this. So my strategy is, let's say I buy 10 cards and I'm going to send all 10 in for grading. What I'd like to have happen, I normally get a mix of 10s and 9s. My gem rate's probably around 50 to 60%. So what I would like to happen is when I get those cards back, I can sell 6 of them. And with those 6, I can make back all my money and then some, and I can hold the other 4. So I can reinvest exactly what I put in originally for the first 10, and I'll have a little bit extra because hopefully I made some extra profit on the side. And I also have 4 that are gaining value on the side that I can just hold for however long I want. So to be able to do that, though, you have to be able to turn around pretty quickly. You can't just be waiting, 4 or 5 months for subs to come back. So now what I'm transitioning into doing is I'm trying 5 and 10-day subs, and I'm trying to do 5 more so, but also like dabbling in 10 a little bit. But in order to do that, you have to buy the higher end cards. So the raw cards have to be anywhere from, typically it's, I don't know, 200 to, I've spent up to like $600 on a raw card before. And the PSA 10 value, depending on, 5 or 10 day, has to be anywhere between 1,500 and 2,500. So I'm trying that right now. I have a sub going out with some Trey Optic Hollows with like a couple higher end Luka cards. I'm getting some higher end cards back from a 10-day. So I'm trying to adapt in a way of let's try shorter subs because I know that PSA does pay more attention to the shorter sub lengths, whether it's the 5-day or the 10-day.
Absolutely.
Typically my 10 days have been very close to 10 days, if not maybe 15, maybe 20, but that's fine compared to 20 days, which are literally 5 months now. So I'm trying to adapt into shorter sub days, but then I'm also trying to hedge with something like Topshot.
Nice. I love it. And I mean, you're really wise for a 23-year-old because Bro Namath, who's been in the game, he's an OG as well. And we've had him on a few times. He talks a lot about setting your own market, doing the shorter subs, paying a bit more, giving up a bit more margin, but hey, you're getting that money back and you can reinvest it, right? Because what good is it to make a huge margin, but once a year where you can make a smaller margin and do that monthly?
Exactly. And I think that's the thought that people don't really understand for some reason is you do have to understand, like, you have to understand what makes it worth it to spend the money for a 5 or 10-day sub. But once you kind of find that market and once you've built up enough capital to start doing that, you can just keep it rolling rather than doing it like once a year with 20-day or 45-day.
I love it. Dude, you're clearly talented. I could see you working at, like, living in Hollywood, working in Hollywood, being an actor. What does 10 years from now look like for Brighton?
Yeah. So like I said, my biggest goal is to create a personal brand off of basketball. I don't entirely know what that means yet. Part of it's finding ways to make money from basketball, whether that's sports cards, whether that's NBA Topshot, whether that's putting out content. I've really enjoyed doing vlogs and just kind of showing people like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is my life right now. I enjoy apparel. I think it's interesting from a younger person's standpoint. It's not as much, I'm going to buy Nike, Adidas, Under Armour right now. It's more so, hey, I like that influencer. That influencer has a personal brand. They have an apparel company based off their personal brand. Let's support them rather than support Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. So I think people like that have gone into specific niches where, like, I like to work out, so I follow some lifting influencers and I buy from their personal brands, like their apparel brands. So I might try and dabble in something like that with basketball because a lot of basketball apparel is from Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, companies like that. So I would like to try something like that. But as of right now, it's just trying to get that personal brand up and just trying to make some money and have some fun doing it.
So for the Luka Nation guys who are out there listening, they've heard you had, some success with Tatum because of your research, your market research. You're seeing something out there that just didn't look right to you. They've heard your journey through, Top Shot and how you saw that and decided that, you got in before most. And that's, so if you've got a common thread there, it's, you're identifying opportunities and you're getting in before people, which, by the way, that is the key, right? So to our guys who are listening to this episode, I'm putting you on the spot, right? So give them something. Tell them an area you're looking at. You don't have to give away your secrets, right? I mean, I still don't know. I drink a lot of Coke, but I don't know the exact recipe. I don't know what all the 13 of the Colonel's secret spices are for his Kentucky Fried Chicken. I could probably guess like 6. So you don't have to give away the store, man. But people have listened now for a little while, and they tune in for somebody like you because you've had some real success. You are able to see things that people are not seeing. So where are you looking now?
So just in general, I think there's, like I said before, there's so much to be said about the card market. And if you look up, like if you dissect the card market backwards and you understand grading a card. So to grade a card, it has to be in great condition. Well, there's so much that, you just buy the card and it's in a specific condition, but you can clean that card to put it in that great condition. Okay, well now once it's graded, where are you going to sell that card? Right now, you can really only sell on eBay. You can sell on like Discords and Facebook groups, but there's not really another site to sell on. There's not really cleaning supplies out there to clean your cards with. There's not really great display cases, in my opinion, to display those cards when you have them sitting at home. So I think right now it's so important for people, if you want to really just like start an actual business rather than just like flipping these cards, dissect something like the sports card business, understand every aspect of it, just like what people did with shoes. And there are so many little niches in there that you can just dive into, create an audience of people that need to use those products. And I think there's so much money that can be made in the sports card market in general right now.
I agree. And you can't get rich on one revenue stream, right? They always say having more than one revenue stream is what made wealthy people wealthy. What strikes me about you, and I have no doubt you'll be successful, and I hope we get to collaborate down the road. Maybe we do open rips with cages packs, but anything we can do to support you, your humility, is really striking, for someone who's had a ton of success in 2020, early on Topshot, bought Luka's for like $12 and they went up to 200. You could have been like, yeah, I knew it. But your humility strikes me. And I think that's super important as an investor to be humble.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot.
Thank you for spending some time with us on another episode of the Luka's, Tigers, and Bronze Oh My podcast. Do us a favor and like, subscribe. You know what? Don't just like and subscribe. Everybody does that. If you like us, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, tell everybody. And we hope you got something from spending some time with us today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.